Do we need to talk about Liz Truss? I mean, she sort of popped her head up again this week, didn't she? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Lizzie. Here's her deal. Here's Liz Truss's deal. Liz Truss was made party leader because the majority of Tory members can't keep their dicks limp over Margaret Thatcher. And she was the latest conveyor belt clone that the tabloids were hyping as Thatcher 2.0. That's her deal. But that was based on two things, okay? Number one, Thatcher and Truss both had vaginas. Had. I don't know why that was past tense. I mean, you know, Margaret Thatcher had a vagina. I'm relatively certain she doesn't any longer. But Liz Truss, I imagine, probably still does have a vagina. So they had that in common. So that was number one. Number two, Liz Truss had vocal coaching, I believe, to try to sound more like Margaret Thatcher. So they both sounded like Margaret Thatcher. Sounded like, you know, I mean, Margaret Thatcher sounded like Margaret Thatcher. Liz Truss sounded, I mean, like, you know, Creed sounded like Pearl Jam, but they're not fucking Pearl Jam, all right? Like, that is the thing that always gets me with the Conservative Party, is how can anyone think that this is a party that have any vision for the future? You know? I mean, apart from all of like the distractive culture war nonsense, which is obviously totally devoid of policy and vision. But it's like, you know, the best they can do is a Theresa May with a headline like Iron Lady 2.0 question mark, you know? Or like then Truss comes along. Liz Truss, the new Iron Lady with the same fucking clothes and like ruffle neck and shit. Boris Johnson steps up like, Johnson, the next Churchill, you know? Like, the best they can do is wheel out Tesco value versions of the shit that they did fucking decades ago. Anyway, she wasn't Thatcher, she was shit. And she was given the job almost entirely because of that whole fucking Thatcher fetish shit. With a healthy dollop of home counties racism to boot, I'm sure. Like, that is what it was. I'm convinced. Is like, you know, faced with the choice of a woman leading the party or a brown man leading the party. I mean, that is a toughie. That is a toughie for 72-year-old home counties Tories. You know, it's a tough call. Having to decide whether to adhere to the innate conservative sexism or the innate conservative racism. Like, which of my core principles do I portray here?